Hey there, ready for a deep dive into something really unique?
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Okay, so today we're going to be exploring the world of junkyard bots. And yes, the name is just as intriguing as the art itself. Imagine robots, animals, even like spaceships, all crafted from these vintage treasures, those wonderfully worn pieces you might find in an antique shop or like tucked away in your grandma's attic.
Oh, I love that. It's amazing what people can do with found objects, turning something old and maybe forgotten into something new and beautiful.
Exactly. And that's Diana Vest for you. She's the artist behind these junkyard bots. And I've been poring over articles and even a video interview just to kind of get a sense of her process for this deep dive. We're talking the how, the why, what it all means.
I'm ready. I'm particularly excited to unpack the artistic techniques, especially the assemblage aspect. It's a fascinating art form.
Right. It's so cool. All right, buckle up because her work is something else. Picture this. Robots, and I say robots loosely because sometimes there are other forms too, but they're cobbled together from these really cool antique finds. We're talking old tin toys, roller skates, those cool metal wheels, even tiny intricate watch parts.
Wow, she uses watch parts.
Yeah, it's incredible. But here's where it gets really interesting. She doesn't try to hide the rust or the dents. Those imperfections are like part of what make each piece so unique.
It's like she's celebrating the history of the objects themselves, which is actually a hallmark of found object art. Sometimes it's called assemblage, where artists will incorporate these existing materials into their work. So instead of seeing these things as, simply discarded, she elevates these pieces, gives them a second life, a new story to tell. And the way she uses bold colors, but then still lets that original patina shine through. Genius.
Totally. She describes her style as having this cartoon whimsical aesthetic, which I think is spot on. There's just this playfulness there, a sense of humor even. Like imagine a robot with mismatched arms made from, say, a rusty toolbox and a vintage Tinker toy truck. It's just fun. And it's not just robots. She does animals, rockets, you name it. It's like her imagination has no limits.
And to think she makes these intricate pieces primarily using bolts instead of welding. It's a technical detail that a lot of people might not consider, but it speaks volumes about her respect for the original objects and their individual histories.
Yeah, it's like each piece has a story to tell even before she starts working on them,
Yeah.
right? And speaking of stories, her own journey to becoming an artist is pretty remarkable. So yeah, her journey to becoming this full-fledged artist is something else.
You mentioned that her path to becoming an artist was remarkable. What's the story? It's not every day that someone completely reinvents their career, especially like one as established as a paralegal.
Right. Exactly. She was a paralegal for over 20 years before kind of diving headfirst into this whole junkyard bots thing. And the catalyst for this huge shift, well, it's a story that I think really highlights just the resilience of the human spirit.
Okay, now you've piqued my curiosity. This is about more than just a simple career change, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely not. It was a life-altering experience that pushed her in this new direction. Back in 2016, while she was on a trip with her family, she got a breast cancer diagnosis, and it was a complete shock. And she ended up undergoing major surgery, multiple surgeries, in fact.
Wow. To face a challenge like that and then to find the strength not only to cope, but to completely transform your life, that's incredible.
Yeah, it speaks to her strength, for sure. And the way she found solace and even a sense of purpose during that time is incredible. You see, she wasn't even supposed to be lifting anything heavy while she was recovering, but sitting still just wasn't her style. That's when she really dove headfirst into her art, making it more than just a casual hobby.
It's almost like the limitations that she was facing physically opened up these new creative pathways for her. Like it forced her to slow down, to be present, to really connect with the materials in a different way. That resonates with the whole idea of found object art, wouldn't you say? Like taking something that might be seen as broken or past its prime and seeing this potential for something new.
Totally. And she's even said that while the experience was incredibly difficult, it ultimately gave her the push she needed to pursue what truly made her happy. It's like her art became this outlet for processing everything she was going through, and it just blossomed into this whole new chapter.
It's such a powerful message. It reminds me of the cyclic nature of, well, everything really. Life throws these curveballs, and sometimes it's in those moments of disruption that we discover hidden strengths and new paths forward.
And speaking of paths, get this. Diana is not one to shy away from adventure after beating cancer. She hit the road traveling the country in a van with her Great Dane, Deacon.
Wait, hold up. Did you say a Great Dane? As in traveling the country selling art out of a van with a Great Dane as a co-pilot.
You heard that right. Could you imagine like a more charming scenario? A van full of whimsical robots, a trusty canine companion, and the open road.
Talk about living life on your own terms. There's such a beautiful sense of freedom in that, and a real dedication to sharing her art with the world. It's not just about creating, it's about connecting with people through her work. I imagine those interactions at art shows must be pretty special.
Oh, absolutely. And as if the whole traveling artist with the Great Dane thing wasn't cool enough, she's also working on a children's book series featuring her Junkyard bots.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Those bots are practically begging to be characters in a children's book. They're whimsical, they're full of personality, and they spark that sense of wonder and imagination that's so important, especially for kids. It's like taking the concept of found object art and turning it into a story about seeing the potential in everything around you.
It's true. It's amazing how she keeps finding new avenues for her creativity. And it gets even better. She also creates these custom pieces called memory bots.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I read about those in one of the articles. The idea is so incredibly touching.
It really is. People send her their old family heirlooms, things like vintage watches, brooches, even old toys.
It's like she's weaving these personal histories into her art,
Mm-hmm.
giving new life to objects that hold sentimental value, things that might otherwise be forgotten.
Yeah, and she incorporates them into these one-of-a-kind creations, preserving those memories in a really tangible, artistic way. It's like she's taking those family stories and like turning them into art, you know?
It's true.
Those memory box really add another layer to her work, don't they?
Absolutely. It speaks to our human desire to connect with the past, to preserve memories and to find meaning in objects that have been passed down through generations. Plus it's incredibly sustainable. You're giving new life to objects that might otherwise end up, forgotten in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah, it's like taking the idea of one person's trash is another person's treasure to a whole new level. Who wouldn't want a whimsical robot made out of their great-grandmother's antique locket or their grandpa's old compass? It's art that tells a story, sparks a conversation, and it's environmentally conscious.
Exactly. And it kind of makes you wonder what treasures are lurking in your own attic or basement just waiting for a creative transformation.
Right. I know. I'm already eyeing that box of old family trinkets. But seriously, Diana's story is so inspiring on so many levels. It reminds us that it's never too late to pursue our passions, to find meaning and purpose in our lives, even in the face of, adversity.
She's a testament to the power of resilience, creativity, and finding beauty in unexpected places. Her story is a reminder that sometimes the most challenging experiences can lead us to our true calling.
And sometimes that calling involves transforming rusty old roller skates into whimsical robots. But on a more serious note, I think the biggest takeaway from Diana's story, for me at least, is the power of art to heal, to connect us, and to inspire us to see the world with fresh eyes.
I couldn't agree more. It's a reminder that creativity can be a source of strength, solace, and even a way to preserve memories and connect with our past.
It's true. Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of junkyard bots, I want to leave you with this thought. What discarded objects in your life are whispering to be transformed? What hidden treasures are waiting to be discovered? You never know what you might create if you just let your imagination run wild. And if you want to check out Diana's incredible work for yourself, and trust me, you do head over to junkyardbots.com. You won't be disappointed.
It's been a pleasure exploring Diana's world with you today. Until next time, keep those creative sparks flying.